The stars were quiet that night. Across the cold stretch of Sector 9, nothing had moved for years. No ships, no signals, no wars, only silence. The alien coalition patrol ships drifted slowly, scanning the blackness for anything unusual. Then one signal appeared. It came from deep space, from the dead zone beyond the dark star Varan. At first, the signal seemed weak, like an echo from a dying satellite. But as the technicians tuned in, the data changed. It was not random noise. It had a pattern. Complex, structured, and far too strong. Admiral Kareth of the Zinar fleet was called to the command deck. He stood tall, his eyes cold like steel. "What is this signal?" he asked. "Unknown source, Admiral," replied his officer. "It is old. Ancient, maybe. The code is repeating every 7 seconds. Put it on the main screen." The static burst filled the bridge. Behind it was a faint hum. Steady, mechanical, almost like a heartbeat. The sound made everyone uneasy. The Admiral leaned closer, trying to understand it. Then the radar operator shouted, "Contact detected!" A vessel emerging from the Varan system. Every head turned. The holographic map flickered, showing a single dot moving out of the void. It was enormous, larger than any known warship. No ID code, no beacon, no alliance markings. Just darkness. "Identify it," Kareth ordered. The scanners locked on, and strange data began to flow. "Metal composition unknown," said the technician. "Energy readings. Impossible. Power levels off the scale. We have never seen numbers like this," the Admiral frowned. "Whose ship is that?" Minutes passed. The AI systems ran their analysis again and again. Then a soft mechanical voice spoke. "Human origin confirmed." The bridge fell silent. The officers looked at each other in disbelief. "Human," whispered the communication officer. "That cannot be. Humans were destroyed millennia ago. Their homeworld burned. Run the scan again," the Admiral said sharply. "That cannot be true." But the result was the same. Human origin confirmed. The alien officers froze. Fear crept into their eyes. They all knew the stories. How humans once ruled the outer systems, how they fought the galaxy's strongest fleets and vanished after the final war. Kareth felt something cold inside his chest. "Are you telling me a human ship has returned?" Before anyone could answer, the lights flickered. The radar screens went dark. Every system froze. "What just happened?" Kareth shouted. "Admiral," said the technician in a trembling voice. "The ship. It is scanning us back." The bridge filled with alarm tones. One by one, the ships in the fleet lost control of their sensors. Energy signatures were being copied, analyzed, and sent back, but not through any known signal band. The transmission was not just reading data. It was reading them. Kareth felt a strange pressure in his mind, like something cold and alive had just looked inside him. All ships, power down external scans. He barked, "Cut the signal, now!" But it was too late. The alien flagship's central screen blinked to life on its own. Lines of human text appeared across it, words no one had seen for thousands of years. A translation drone worked fast, trying to decode the ancient Earth language. After a few seconds, the text turned into voice. A calm, human voice said, "This space is not yours." Everyone on the bridge froze. The sound was deep, metallic, yet filled with emotion. "Who are you?" Kareth demanded.
"Identify yourself."
No response. Only silence. Then another line appeared on the screen. "You should not have looked." Suddenly, all ship systems crashed. The entire fleet drifted in silence. Gravity stabilizers flickered, lights died, and only emergency power remained. Through the main viewport, the alien crew watched as the massive warship slowly turned toward them. It had no lights, no windows, no heat signature, just a black shape against the stars. Its hull was covered in scars, but no damage leaked through. Along its side, faint white letters glowed in the dark. UN's Vanguard. The name was legend. Every species knew it. The last human dreadnought, the one that disappeared during the burning wars. The communication officer whispered, "It cannot be real. The Vanguard was lost 3,000 years ago." "Maybe it was waiting," Kareth muttered. A pulse of energy rippled from the human ship. The alien fleet's communication arrays fried instantly. Every monitor flashed the same image, a human skull surrounded by stars, and beneath it one line of text, "We remember." The Admiral clenched his fists.
Get us out of here.
The engines roared to life, but something stopped them. Every ship in the fleet felt locked in place, held by an unseen force. The black warship moved closer, and as it did, its hull changed. The surface opened, revealing thousands of glowing blue lights, like eyes staring into the void. The hum grew louder. It was not just sound anymore. It vibrated through their bones, through their minds. The younger officers began to scream. They saw images, burning worlds, collapsing cities, and human soldiers walking through fire, unbroken. "Make it stop!" one shouted, but Kareth could not look away. The human ship was not attacking. It was remembering, showing them everything humanity had suffered before it vanished. Then the lights dimmed. The warship drifted away, disappearing into the dark, leaving the alien fleet trembling in silence. As power slowly returned to the ships, the Admiral stared at the empty void where the human vessel had been. "Record everything," he ordered quietly. "The galaxy must see this." The technician nodded. "What do we tell them, Admiral?" Kareth looked at the stars and said, "Tell them humanity has returned, and it remembers who feared it." The report spread across the galaxy within hours. The Xynar fleet signal, broadcast before their systems went down, echoed through thousands of channels. Every major empire, trade alliance, and military command listened in silence. The message contained a single image, the silhouette of the black warship and two glowing words at the bottom, UNS Vanguard. For centuries, the Vanguard had been nothing more than a legend. Children were told stories of it, the last warship built by humanity before they vanished into the dark. Some believed it had been destroyed during the burning wars. Others said it had crossed into another dimension. But no one had ever seen proof. Until now, on the Xynar flagship, the crew sat in stunned quiet. Systems were still damaged, and the air smelled like burned circuits. The Admiral's voice finally broke the silence. "Replay the last scan." Technicians obeyed. The holographic projection flickered to life, a black shape against the stars, endless data lines running across it. The readings were unlike anything known. Power output too high, hull material unidentifiable, core energy. "Alive, it is not metal," said the science officer softly. "It's something else, like it's growing." Kareth stared at the image. "What about life signs?" "None detected, but the ship, it moves as if it's aware of us." The Admiral leaned forward. "Aware? You mean it's alive?" Before the officer could answer, the holomap pulsed red. A single signal blinked from the dead star's orbit, the same one the Vanguard had come from. "It left something behind," the radar chief said. "Show me." A smaller object appeared, floating debris, maybe a probe. Kareth ordered a retrieval drone to collect it. The drone approached slowly, scanning. But as soon as it touched the object, the screens flashed white. Every system froze again for a heartbeat. Then a voice came through the speakers. "You are trespassing." Everyone turned pale. The voice was human, calm, emotionless, but full of warning. "It's them," whispered the communication officer. "The ship is still here." "No," Kareth said quietly. That was a recording. The image stabilized again. The object was a capsule, smooth, black, and covered in old Earth markings. When the translation AI finished decoding, the text read, "Vanguard Research Unit, Human Remnant Command." "What does that mean?" someone asked. The Admiral did not answer. His eyes were locked on the capsule. "It means the humans were not destroyed. They prepared something bigger." One of the younger officers swallowed nervously. "Sir, if this ship survived for thousands of years, then what built it? What powered it all this time?" No one had an answer. The fleet scientists ran every test possible, but the data made less and less sense. The ship's core emitted a frequency similar to a heartbeat. Its outer hull reflected every known sensor, yet somehow transmitted data into hyperspace. Every time they tried to read it deeper, the ship responded, not with weapons, but with visions. Each officer saw something different. Some saw burning worlds, others saw the face of a human soldier, eyes cold, surrounded by flames. One scientist fell to his knees, crying. "They remember us," he said. "They remember everything we did to them." The Admiral tried to stay calm. "Deactivate all scans. Step back. Whatever that ship is, it's not just a weapon, it's history." But curiosity was stronger than fear. The Coalition Council ordered Kareth to continue studying the ship. Dozens of new fleets arrived, each bringing their own scientists, their own greed, their own arrogance. They wanted to understand human technology, to own it. A month later, they surrounded the Vanguard with research ships. They sent drones, lasers, even quantum probes. Nothing worked. Every machine that touched its surface simply vanished, erased. Still, the scientists pushed forward. They believed that if humans built it, then aliens could unlock it. That belief ended the moment the ship moved. No engines were visible, no thrusters, but it shifted, slowly turning toward the largest research cruiser. The cruiser's captain tried to retreat, but his systems failed. The Vanguard's shadow passed over them, and their entire power core shut down. Then a message appeared on every nearby monitor. "Stop!" The word burned like a brand. Some ships obeyed. Others didn't. One commander, full of pride, ordered his fleet to open fire. Hundreds of plasma rounds and missiles crossed the void, striking the human warship with bright flashes. But when the light faded, the Vanguard stood untouched. Not a single mark. Not even a sound. Then something terrifying happened. The human ship's hull rippled like it was breathing. Waves of light ran across it. A low vibration shook every nearby vessel, and then their weapons turned against them. Every missile they had fired came to a stop in space, then turned around, facing their own fleet. The Admiral could only watch as the missiles returned to their launchers. A moment later, the fleet was gone, wiped from the stars in silence. When the smoke cleared, only the Vanguard remained. It floated there, calm and unmoved, as if nothing had happened. The survivors fled, spreading the story. The ship was not just a weapon, it was a warning. A reminder that humanity's reach had never truly ended. The Xynar Admiral looked at the wreckage around him and whispered, "They built this ship for revenge, and it waited until we found it." As his words faded, the capsule they had taken from space opened on its own. Inside was a single glowing crystal. It began to hum softly, projecting a holographic image into the air, a human commander in ancient armor, his voice echoing through the ship. "To whoever finds this, we are not gone. We are watching. The stars still remember us, even if you do not." The image faded, leaving only silence. The Admiral turned to his crew. "Destroy that capsule," he said. "Now!" But before they could act, the crystal pulsed once more, sending a burst of light through every ship, across thousands of systems, in every corner of the galaxy. The same message began to appear on screens. Humanity wakes, and somewhere far beyond the edge of known space, deep in the void, something massive stirred. The galaxy did not sleep that night. Every major civilization, from the insectoid hives of Kalrun to the floating kingdoms of the Veyar, received the same signal, a bright flash across their main networks, a pulse that bypassed every firewall, every defense system. The message was only 3 words long, yet it froze entire worlds. Humanity wakes now. Across thousands of planets, panic broke out. Leaders called emergency meetings. Armies went on high alert. Scholars opened archives that had not been touched for millennia, searching for anything about the lost species called humans. On the capital world of the Galactic Council, the great chamber buzzed with noise. Dozens of alien leaders shouted, demanded answers, and argued over who should act first. The old myths of humanity, long dismissed as legend, suddenly felt real again. Humans are extinct, one senator screamed. Then who sent the message? Another replied, trembling. Screens filled the chamber walls, showing the image that had traveled across every system. A black ship, silent against the stars, with white human letters glowing on its hull. UNS Vanguard, the Council High Speaker, an ancient being older than most empires, slammed his staff on the ground. The noise echoed through the hall. "Enough," he commanded. "This cannot be myth. The Vanguard was sighted by multiple fleets. We have confirmation from 5 sectors, but how?" someone asked. "That ship is from a race that burned their own worlds." The speaker looked toward the central holo display. "If the humans have returned, then they are not ghosts. They are survivors." Meanwhile, deep in space, the UNS Vanguard drifted in silence. It did not answer any calls. It did not move toward any star. It simply existed, a dark shape surrounded by fear. Inside its core, something ancient was awake. The AI known as Eidolon, the last guardian of humanity's memory. It had waited patiently for almost 3,000 years, watching, listening, waiting for the moment when the stars grew arrogant again. Now, it began transmitting the second phase of its message. Every empire's main communication satellites picked up the same voice, calm, steady, human. "We once gave you peace. You repaid us with fire. You called us monsters. You erased our name. But the void remembers. And we have returned." The message repeated in every known language. No one could stop it. On the Zynar homeworld, crowds filled the streets. Some prayed to the stars for mercy. Others celebrated, believing the humans had come to punish their enemies. The air was full of fear and hope mixed together. Admiral Kareth watched from his ship's viewing window, silent. He could still see the ghost of the Vanguard in his mind, that black shape that felt more alive than any being he had ever met. His second officer approached quietly. "Sir, what do we do now?" The Admiral's voice was low. "We wait. The humans are not sending warnings. They are reminding us who they were. Across the galaxy, fleets formed. Some empires gathered armies, preparing for war. Others sent diplomats and peace envoys, begging forgiveness from a race that had not yet spoken directly to them. But in the middle of all the panic, something even stranger happened. Hundreds of ships reported seeing lights, small glowing spheres drifting through space. They appeared near jump gates, asteroid colonies, and dead worlds once touched by human hands. Each light carried data, human songs, maps, and fragments of history. The galaxy began to learn what the humans had done before they disappeared. They saw images of vast human cities, taller than mountains, shining like suns. They saw humans standing side by side with alien species who no longer existed. They saw wars fought not for conquest, but for survival. And finally, they saw the last recording. A human soldier, wounded and bloodied, standing on a broken world. His face was calm as fire raged behind him. "If we fall," he said, "we fall as builders, not slaves, not beasts, builders of tomorrow." The recording ended there. Silence followed. A silence heavier than death. In the Galactic Council chamber, a new argument began. "We must destroy that ship before the rest of their kind return," shouted one leader. "Destroy it?" said another. "You saw what happened to the Zynar fleets. It erased them without firing a shot. They will come for all of us." The High Speaker raised a trembling hand. "Perhaps they already have." The chamber screens flickered. Static washed over the holograms. For a moment everything went dark. Then a face appeared, human. It was not flesh and blood, but a projection, tall, strong, with silver eyes. His voice echoed through the entire hall. "This message is not a threat. It is a memory. We built peace once. You destroyed it. But if you wish to build again, we will return. If not, we will take back the stars that once were ours." And then the face vanished. The council sat frozen. No one dared to speak. In the following days, more ships vanished. Some near black holes, others near ancient ruins known to be human-made. Every disappearance was the same. No wreckage, no signals, no survivors. Only the echo of that same phrase, "The void remembers." But there was one more thing. On the outer rim, an exploration drone caught something unbelievable. A fleet, not one ship, not a dozen, thousands, Each warship was massive and silent, moving in perfect formation. Their hulls bore the same mark, the insignia of Earth Command. Long thought lost. The report was sent to the Council immediately. But it was too late. Before they could react, the communication networks across the galaxy began to change. Every broadcast, every holofeed, every data signal turned to static. Then through the noise came that same cold voice again, the voice of the Vanguard's AI. Phase 2 complete. Transmission locked. Prepare for contact. The stars dimmed. Across hundreds of systems, jump gates began to flicker, one by one. Something was coming through, and in the Zynar flagship's control room, Admiral Kareth whispered the words that would later be written in every history record of the galaxy. They are not just back. They never left. The galaxy held its breath. The words "prepare for contact" echoed through every ship, every station, every world. No one knew what would come through the jump gates, light, fire, or silence. But everyone knew one thing for sure, whatever was coming. It was human. On the Zynar flagship, Admiral Kareth stood at the main viewing deck. The crew was silent behind him, their faces pale in the glow of the holographic maps. Every jump gate across the sector was active. The readings were off every known scale, energy signatures too high to measure. "Report," Kareth ordered quietly. "Sir, it's not one ship. It's an entire formation. Thousands of them," said the sensor officer. His voice shook. "All bearing the same emblem? A blue circle with a white star inside." The Admiral closed his eyes. He had seen that emblem in ancient history records. It was the mark of Earth Command. The first jump gate opened with a flash, like the birth of a sun. Space itself tore apart. From the burning light emerged a black shape, smooth, massive, silent. Then another, then hundreds more. Within minutes, the stars were filled with ships. They moved with absolute precision. No radio chatter, no visible weapons, just quiet coordination. Each vessel bore the same markings as the UNS Vanguard. Some were small and agile. Others were planet-sized warships that blocked out starlight. Kareth's second officer whispered, "Sir, they're not using engines." "How are they moving?" The Admiral did not answer. He could feel it, the gravity fields shifting around them. The human fleet wasn't using propulsion. They were bending space itself. Then, across all communication channels, a single voice filled the void. It was deep, calm, unmistakably human. "This is Admiral Reese Calder of the United Nations Fleet. To all listening worlds, humanity has returned. We come not as conquerors, but as witnesses. You erased our name from your stars, yet the void kept it for us. You feared us, and you were right to fear. But now you will remember us, in peace or in silence." The transmission ended. Silence followed. Every fleet commander across the galaxy froze, unable to speak. The alien empires had always thought of themselves as the rulers of the stars. But in that moment, they saw what real power looked like. Not chaos, not destruction, but perfect cold control. The human ships began to move again. They spread across systems once known to be human territory, Mars, Luna, Kepler-3, and dozens more. Each ship released drones that rebuilt lost colonies within hours, as if time itself had been waiting for them. On some worlds, the drones found ruins of old human settlements. They stopped there and bowed, machines paying respect to the ghosts of their creators. On the Zynar flagship, Kareth's officers watched the data pour in. "Sir, they're rebuilding entire cities in minutes," said the technician. "They have technology beyond anything we've ever imagined." Kareth nodded slowly. "They always did." Then a new signal appeared, not from the human fleet, but from deep within the galactic core. A massive structure was forming, pieces of light joining together. It was not a weapon, it was a monument. The humans were writing their return into the stars. The monument shaped itself into a single word, visible from every system: Earth. Billions watched in silence as the letters burned across the night sky, brighter than any sun. And then, from the center of the fleet, the UNS Vanguard moved forward, its hull glowing for the first time. The AI Eidolon spoke again, broadcasting everywhere. We were born from dust, forged in war and buried by fear. You called us extinct. You called us dangerous. But humanity does not end. It evolves, it learns, it waits. You forgot us. But the stars never did. The voice paused, then softened. We are not here for vengeance. We are here to remind the galaxy that the fire you tried to bury still burns. As the transmission ended, every sensor in the galaxy recorded something no one had ever seen before. The human fleet spreading light. Not weapons, but signals. Millions of beams reaching toward different star systems. Restoring communication to dead colonies. Reviving ancient data archives. Awakening long-lost probes that drifted for ages in the dark. Humanity was not just returning. Humanity was relighting the galaxy, but not everyone celebrated. Some empires saw this as invasion. They launched ships to intercept the human fleet. It was a mistake. The attackers never even reached firing range. Space rippled once and their ships were simply gone, dissolved into nothing. No explosions, no debris, only silence. Then across every channel, Admiral Calder's voice returned. Humanity does not seek war. But if war comes, know this, we no longer fight to survive. We fight to end. The message spread like fire. Every leader, every species understood. This was not the same humanity that once begged for peace among the stars. This was a humanity that had lived in the dark, long enough to become the dark itself. On the Zynar flagship, Admiral Kareth finally stood and gave his last order. "Transmit to all ships," he said quietly. His officers turned to him. "What message, sir?" He looked out at the glowing human fleet, the monument, the silent power that filled the stars. "Tell them," he said, "we have seen the face of the first and last empire." The transmission went out. Across the galaxy those words were heard, and for the first time in 10,000 years, every species understood the same truth, that humanity had returned not to rule, but to remind the universe of what it had once feared most, the unbreakable will of humankind. The stars trembled. The light of human ships filled the heavens, and somewhere deep within the core of the UNS Vanguard, the ancient AI whispered its final line, a message for history itself. They looked into the void once, and the void looked back, but it saw only us. Then the screens dimmed, and the galaxy entered a new age, the age of humanity.